for another fantastic hour. It's going to be very, very exciting because we got uh, a good friend of mine joining the chat, Jeroen of Armada Records, the vice president of A&Ring. So he is going to join our chat shortly. Kurt Maverick is here, Wilco is here, Stadi is here. So you see Gunti, nice to see all of you guys joining the chat again. Cornelius Walter is here. So I see Jeroen is already on board, so I'm going to invite him to the chat. Xavier is here. Good to see you guys. So I'm going to get Jeroen into the chat so we can cut straight to the point. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Hey, Jeroen.
Hey.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. You?
Fantastic. Great to have you, and thank you for joining our Music Monday here on Refine Productions. It's an honor to have you. And I think it's a very valuable conversation that we are going to have tonight.
I hope so. You booked me for 3.5 hours, so
So it seems like we're having a little hiccup here.
I see the Wi-Fi is
Give me 1 second. What's happening?
Is it better?
So here we are again. Sorry, something went wrong. It doesn't matter. Hey.
It went viral. It went viral. You know, there was so many people
viral.
The whole Instagram exploded.
Well, I don't know what I've done wrong, but you know, this is life. Stuff like this happens, you know?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining, and I'm really happy to have you on board.
Likewise.
First of all, let me say that this is something that people have been really looking forward to have you on board, because I think it's a very valuable thing to have an VP of A&Ring of one of the standout labels joining us and sharing some value. So I think it's a very cool thing that you are joining us. Thank you again.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, I would just say we already got a couple of great questions rushing in over the last couple of days since we've launched the flyer, and I just wanted to ask you the first thing. I would like to have a little bit of background story from you, because you actually started on a total different level. You started with music as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. No, it's basically almost like from paperboy to executive kind of story. I think I was around 15 or 16 when I started just collecting records with a big dream of becoming a DJ. So I just wanted to, that was my only dream. I just wanted to become a DJ, entertain people, play music for people, connect with people in a crowd. And basically from that boy's dream, tried everything, do it yourself in a do-it-yourself kind of a way to achieve those dreams. So along the way, I picked up all kinds of, met a lot of people, gained a lot of skills, and here we are. That's the short version.
Yeah, well, on our first phone call that we had prior this Music Monday, I've asked you, I need some background info from you, you know?
Yeah.
So, so you said, well, I mean, at an early age, you started to work in a record store. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%. That was actually my first lucky break to get a little bit more into the scene and into the community, because working at a record store, that was everybody's dream, of course, because on the one hand you were close to the new music.
Yeah.
And I remember at that time, the guys behind the counter, they also had a little sense of power and control, right? Because they controlled all the good records, and they saved all the records for all the bigger DJs as well. So as a customer, I remember as a boy, I was always standing there, and then the record store clerk always put, let's say, they had these bags, plastic bags, for the DJs behind the
Yes.
counter.
Yeah,
They
I
always
remember.
put it in there, and I said like, "Hey, what's in those bags? I want to know what's in those bags," you know. So now I was the guy who was collecting or putting all the records in the bags as well, and of course I've met a lot of DJs. I at some point also got asked to join a booking agency, so I played numerous clubs around the Netherlands and also abroad. Got some nice invites with some abroad experiences from Ibiza to Greece to
Really?
Russia. Yeah,
Well,
I
that
was international touring DJ, sir.
how long was that ago?
2 years. No, that was no, that was
2 years ago.
uh, 2 years ago. No, that was I think now, yeah, almost 10, 10 years ago. Yeah, 15. I was around my early 20s. I think 24, 25, something like that. And I did that for yeah, at least let's say 7 years professionally. That was just my job.
Well, that's great. I think that is something. If you do stuff like this, did it add value to being an A&R? Was it value to you? Valuable.
Well, especially it really, let's say, I did at the time, all kinds of events, and from playing in the local coffee shop until let's say yeah, some as an opening DJ. So let's say I've really, let's say, grinded and doing all the work from the ground up. So I also know that a lot of people are now watching. I know the struggle as well, and I know, let's say, the ambition and the drive and the dream, because I've been basically all there. So it's so in a way, yeah, what helped me in the end to become an A&R. I think the most important thing is that I listened to incredible amounts of music over the years,
Yes.
and at the same time also from for dance music, what's really important to have a sense of what works for a crowd. So I can, yeah, when I can picture that painting, or that when a specific track, when I listen to that, I go like, oh, that would be perfect for this moment, or I can really relate to that.
Yeah. Well, this is really true, and it's actually great because there's a lot of people here that also are started off with DJing and being bedroom DJs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, everybody who's following Refine Productions, they're all music lovers. They're in it for the love of the music. You know what I mean? And they strive to be better and strive to be excellent. And well, all of this that we are doing here is giving them a little bit of advice and showing them different perspectives of the music industry. And I think that is something really valuable as well, that it's even if you start as a DJ, your road doesn't need to be like you have to be a producer and you have to be that artist. You can go
No,
into total different directions, you know.
but to be honest, I did think I had to do it all. For me, if I talk about my own career, I was literally well, there was a moment that at some point, when the producers actually came up, at some point they also took the slots of the DJs. There's a lot of producers were getting booked because they had this amazing production out, but they weren't necessarily be a very skilled DJ at that time. So I was under the impression like, oh, I need to school myself now and be a producer, because otherwise I'll miss out on the bookings, or so I was that was a real motivator for me at the time. So I started music production myself, and I figured, when I start making music, I might as well start a record label as well, so that I can keep control of my own productions, and also, let's say, yeah, at least, let's say, know all the ins and outs, what needs to be done by a label.
So you
Um,
have done that as well. So you've
yeah,
been starting to produce, and then you also started your own record label.
my first release was on my own label, so
Wow.
I just
Yeah, well, I mean, this is like you had that vision, and you
yeah,
said, you know what do I have to lose? I'm just doing it, you know?
it was just like one big yeah, playground.
Yeah.
So I had an own record company called On the Floor Music,
On the
and
floor.
yeah. So the name, at the time, I was obviously, when people ask you, to hey, you've got a new mixtape, or I want to book you, but can you send a new mixtape? I was actually moving house at that time, and I had my my DJ set up on the floor. So I created, it was, with the SLs, with the vinyls. So I sat on the floor and did the mixtape, and I called it On the Floor Sessions. I was like, oh, that sounds actually quite cool.
Yeah.
So my label name was On the Floor, and I've had about 22 releases.
What?
Also
Really?
signed other artists at the same
Yeah.
time. And my first release was hit the charts actually the first time as well. It was played by Roger Sanchez, which I thought was
And,
like he was the most amazing DJ at the time, and he
yeah.
was like, "Oh, release yourself," with the voiceover. Release yourself. Here's the new. My DJ name was DJ Decky. Here's the new. It's called Tu Madre. That was my the title of my track, and he played it, and it hit the Dutch dance charts #2 behind Armin. I'll
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
forget that.
Okay.
One behind Armin.
Yeah.
No, but so that was basically one big giant kickstart for me.
Wow, man,
Yeah.
that's super interesting.
Yeah.
No, that's actually really good. So you've released your first record on your own
Yeah.
label. You've done how many years ago? How old was that? Is that
I think
record?
that the first release was when I was about 12 years ago, I guess. Yeah, so I think 12 years ago was the first release. So I did the label together with a partner at the time. We also did a lot of work with Oliver Basowski, which was also like a
I know
known.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
big fan, yeah,
So
was
so his partner, he helped out a little bit on the label side because he had some experience on that, and we did it for a couple of years. And basically, what happened also, well, she's here in the room. My daughter was born,
yeah.
and that was a moment that I shifted a little bit more in focus. That I thought like, hey, this one big playground is obviously very nice. I barely break even financially, but I'm having a lot of fun. But now I've got a daughter, and now I'm a provider, and I also at that same point hit like more like a ceiling of knowledge. So I was really hitting that point that it was like, okay, now I really need to go to apply for a job, which was scary as hell because
I can
this
imagine.
was the only thing I could do. And in the end, I got hired as an A&R with EMI Records, specifically for dance. So and that was basically the very first start of a real professional job in the music industry.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that is then, like you said, as soon as you see that as things start to shift in your life, you are prioritizing differently, aren't you?
yeah, yeah,
And then you have to think bigger. You have to think not only about your own career, about the things that you want to create, but you have people to take care of that, you know?
yeah. And I had an own drive. Now my drive was a little bit more of a sustainable professional career.
That's great.
And I never gave up, let's say, on DJing in general. What I um, maybe, let's say, over the years, in my DJ career, I was a little bit more too modest sometimes. I wasn't really aggressive networker or something like that. I was always like, hey, if you like my talent, not in an egocentric way, but I thought like, hey, if you like my talent or like the things I do, then I'll be happy to come and play for you, or book me. But I wasn't, let's say, a real let's say aggressive networker. And my focus in that sense shifted a little bit. Let's say, hey, with the knowledge I got, let's say, from making my own steps in the business, I can maybe now apply that to new talent myself. Talent I discover, or I can maybe assist with talent making their steps in the music industry. So in that sense, it was a very natural and organic shift from from an own ambition, like being more like a supplier of ambition.
Yeah. Was it tough for you making that step from being an artist yourself to the other side of the music industry?
Well, it was. I don't think it was a big step because I already had a very natural interest.
Yeah.
Hence, all the things I did, to build that more like sustainable, ecosystem around my own DJ career. But I thought, no, it was a very organic thing. I never, it was never like an ego thing, or was like, I regret not being on that stage anymore, because I still do the occasional DJ booking, and I really, really enjoy that.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
just more, let's say, about smaller moments rather than, let's say, chasing an active lifestyle.
Yeah, and I understand. So I mean,
Yeah,
for me, it was also. I mean, there have been a couple of shifts throughout my career. There's
yeah.
been
How was
ups.
that for you?
Well, there's been ups and downs during my career. For the most of the people probably don't know, but I've actually said before I'm going full into the music industry. Um, I want to do something that I have in the back of my pocket. So if everything goes south, then I still have
Yeah.
something to fall back to. So I actually, because my family is all like dentists and dentistry and all that stuff, so I studied dentistry and
Ah, okay.
finished the university, did the PhD, and then actually also worked 6 years in the practice. Um, in 2006, I made my exams, and also in 2006, I had the first big record with Love Sensation.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
of course.
yeah, and then I've done everything like 24/7, 4 days a week in the practice, and then in the evenings in the studio, and then on the weekends just touring. But then it got totally out of hand because you can't work 24/7.
Nope.
That's possible. So at some point, I found myself like really facing burnout,
Oh
and
wow.
me being at a point, I've done, as I said, I've done it for 5 6 years, and then I did these collaborations with Eric Murillo, and
Yeah,
we've done some fantastic music together and released great tracks, and that gave me another push into the DJ world. So I was
yeah,
starting to tour like a beast, and then said, okay, I now need to decide what is my future going to be, and
yeah,
my passion was always music. So I said, you know what, I would just stop dentistry, which wasn't the hardest decision to do, because I knew if music doesn't work for me at some point, I can still fall back to going into dentistry. But now you see, I'm 43 now, and I'm still doing it. So, and I'm still enjoying it. But like you said at the beginning, you started off in the record store, and then you started to work at EMI, and now you are at working at Armada, which you
yeah.
probably have never thought about that you will end up there. So, and
No, it was actually it was quite interesting, how I ended up in Armada, actually, because for some reason we crossed paths a
yeah,
couple of times during my career. After EMI stopped because there was a merger with Universal, I
yeah,
actually got in touch with Armada, and we did like a phone call with the CEO, with Michael. Or actually it was a proper interview. I came into the office, and they said like, hey, you want to, no, even better, I actually applied for a social media job at the Armada, and that was
really,
that was before I got hired by EMI. So there wasn't, because it was that crossroads, and I totally echo what you're saying. I mean, after explaining it like earlier, it sounds like a very smooth travel to the moment I'm here, but it's obviously with ups and downs, and having doubts, and and that's also good for all the viewers, to acknowledge that it's not easy, and you need to hang in there and work hard. But at that moment when I said like, I need to go for a grown man's job, I just opened, let's say, a website, or for music or music industry, and there was a vacancy for a social media guy at Armada. So I did the interview with Michael at the time, and he said like, well, I think you've got a skill set to do social media, but maybe you could also do like be product manager or stuff like that. But he said, I only have one condition, and that's you need to stop with your label. And I was like, I've put a couple of years work in this. I'm not ready yet, So at first, the client said like, I'm not ready to stop the label yet. So I said no that first interview, and then between EMI and my publishing job at BMG, I got in touch with Michael again, and got into the office, and he said like, maybe you can do like a marketing job or something like that. And then at the same time, I got the offer to become A&R and creative at Talpa Music, which is now part of the BMG. So as I found music publishing always very interesting, because it was that only box that I didn't cross off yet in the whole journey of music industry, so to speak. So I said no to Armada again. And then the third time after BMG, we got in touch again. And then he said like, well, you want to become head of A&R? It was like, yeah, that sounds good. So in the end, it was meant to be. It's I guess because we crossed paths so many times, and now I'm already 5.5 years with Armada.
Can you imagine? Time flies, and all good things come in three. You know how they say.
Yeah.
No, I think that's super interesting. So, for all the people who are just tuning in now, we are talking to Jeroen te Rehorst. I'm saying it right.
Goed. Yeah, perfect.
Jeroen te Rehorst. Yeah.
Heel goed.
And he's actually the VP of A&R at Armada. He's been running the show with A&Ring now for the last 5.5 years, as you said.
Yeah.
And and we just got in touch like personally over the last couple of weeks a little bit, and then I was thinking about, well, I think it would be super value to have a person on the other side of.
Yeah. Well, I played your records at the time, so I already knew you, but we recently got in touch. Yeah.
So I'm really happy that and I didn't it somehow feels very natural with everyone I've been in touch with from Armada. That's the weird thing. With everyone, I have a very friendly relationship, and everybody is sort of coming from the same roots and from the same. They are having the same view on things. The funny thing is, when you opened up New York, you have how many departments do you have in the world? You have London and USA.
Yeah, we've got 2 offices. So in London, we've got an own office, and also in New York.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fun bit, because when I joined Armada, I think in our current building in Amsterdam, I think we had about 35 people of staff, and by now I think in total, at least over 100. So in 5.5 years, the company almost tripled in size, and also opened those offices with own departments, with specialists on the ground, which is is almost a necessity in order to really treat a specific music market. I think the UK and US as well are so specific, but in Europe, all European countries are very specific in like look and feel, or styles, or flavors and stuff like that. So in order to really work a territory, you just need to work with local people. I think it's super important.
That's true. And the fun thing is, when you guys opened up that New York headquarter,
Yeah.
When I heard who's working there, well, on the one hand, you have Tana
Yeah.
running it together with Stephanie Carton, right?
Yeah. Stephanie. Yeah.
And then I said, well, Stephanie, that rings a bell.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
I've
familiar face
actually worked with Stephanie Carton 15 years ago when
at
she was
Robbins.
working for Robbins Entertainment. I've done a
Yeah.
remix for them, you know what I mean? So and
Yeah.
that's no way. And there you can see how small the music industry sometimes is.
100%.
So it appears to be like so wide, but and that's also why I say you always try you have to try to be nice and polite and respectful to everyone, because at some point you might need someone from that industry again that you need to work with together, you know what I mean?
I think I spoke one of the Dutch DJ producers, Lucien Ford, and he had a saying. He said like, uh, "Be careful what toe you step on, because it might be attached to the foot you have to kiss later." Yeah,
Yeah.
which is in a similar thing. But I know that the music industry is so small and compact. As a somebody just coming into the music industry, I remember the first time when I was at ADE, at the Amsterdam dance event.
Yeah.
I felt so lost, because you saw everybody there, hanging, chilling, high-fiving, and I was like, who are all those people, and it's because it's such a, let's say, in a way, it feels a little bit like a closed and intimate, yeah, almost scene which you can't penetrate. But I see, as soon as you've got an opening and you get to know people, it's a really, yeah, nice and warm community.
It is.
I
It
think,
is.
yeah, that's how I experience it, at least. Yeah.
I think that's that's also something that people are scared about, especially like ADE or when they go to Miami. And I mean,
Yeah,
Miami, it's a different pair of shoes.
different vibe.
It's not
Yeah,
like when I went to a Winter Music Conference the first time, which was in 2006. It was all taking place at one place, and that was the National Hotel.
easy.
There was nothing else. It was just the National Hotel where everybody was hanging around.
Yeah,
So that you didn't have to go to any
so
other
easy.
place. It was all there. You know.
Yeah,
So and that's with ADE. It's also I actually love going to Amsterdam because it's not about, you don't need to have a pass to go into the ADE per se, because you're meeting everyone outside anyway.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And now I think still, since they started to go into a different venue, I think the people from who've been going there for years and years, they've been like a little bit yeah, just it's been weird, because
They,
everybody's not at Felix Meritus anymore.
no, exactly. It's a shame, because in a way the organization made the location irrelevant anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was so concentrated. It only had to do with the fact that the Felix Meritis Conference Center was going to a restructure.
Yeah.
So they had to move the location. But by doing so, I think over the yeah because a lot of people just sat in restaurants doing their meetings around the conference center, or booked
Yes.
own apartments in one of the canal houses. So in a way, yeah, people just became creative and bypassed buying a pass. Um, but still, I think it's a great for the city and for the community. It's a great conference, and yeah, for I think for the world, I think a lot of people still see Amsterdam Dance Event as the key dance conference in the world, where everybody comes in and meets. Yeah, the only way is how to get how to activate a network. That's always a challenge. I can imagine that a lot of people just getting into the business. Yeah, it's always hard to to find your spot.
And you have to
Uh,
have balls. That's a
yeah,
very important thing as well. Because imagine you're going to what's that place again? What's the name of the place around the corner? from Felix Meritis, where everybody started to go to that have that fancy bar that's directly on the river. It's directly around the corner.
Um,
It's our hotel as well.
the Pulitzer, Dylan Andas,
Anders, yeah, exactly.
Andas.
Anders. That's the funny thing because somehow at the Anders Hotel, all the British people were there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I mean, for me, it's still quite intense. Sometimes you go inside, then you have everyone there. You have like the 2 room people, you have defected, then you have MK running around, and you go like, hold on a minute. And can you imagine how it is, how it feels for someone who hasn't met these people, who's just like fresh in that business? Man, you have to be like very, very, very bold in order to
A
actually
hustler.
just talk
Yeah,
to people. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But that's
yeah,
that's what this place is there for as well.
yeah.
And I think
And
that's the most important thing. If you want to connect and if you want to meet the people and show, you need to show your face. You know
yeah,
what I
you
mean?
need to definitely you need to put yourself out there, and I think it's also we in our introduction we talked a little bit about approach and what should people do to in a way do not come across too aggressive yet still grab attention. I think in an email or let's say the way you approach people, I think yeah, if you're just let's say kindness goes a long way, I guess. And I also think as long as you don't, let's say, oversell yourself, or really throw yourself in there, just try to in a clever way, yeah, grab some attention from somebody, and then yeah, get some FaceTime with somebody. I think that's the most important. Get
That's
somebody on the
that's
phone or now with video calls. I think yeah, that's the best pitch you can do is by getting some actual FaceTime with somebody.
and that's something that I feel is super, super important. I mean, writing an email is cool. You can write very personal emails as well, but
Yeah.
most of the time it's still an email. You know what I mean? So the people, I mean, you can send a picture of you with it if you want. But
Sign my record.
you know what I mean. So you have to convince with words. You have to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's for you. I mean, I don't want to know how many emails you get per day. How many emails roundabout do you get per day?
Yeah, I think over a week, I think 1,000.
Okay, now can you imagine if you open that now? I'm talking to the people who are sending out emails to people.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, if what grabs your attention if somebody sends you an email?
Um, yeah, I think what grabs my attention. I think well, start with my name, saying hey Jeroen, not like hey Jorn from spinning or hey or a mass mail out. Hello, you know, your opening should be personal, so you have to address me and then do a very short intro, a very short pitch, and then it's about the music. So then make it as accessible for me as possible. To click on the link you're sending over, and then you have me, you have my attention.
Okay, so if somebody wants to get your attention, he should be personal. He should do a little bit of research, know who you are, what a little bit of the and music wise, is it how is your range of music that people can send to you? Is it like, do you have how many A&Rs do you have there? Should they can they find out who's focused on what genre, or is it genre unspecific?
Oh, so the fun thing, with Armada, I work with amazing team of A&Rs. We've got let's say the A&R team consists about let's say 10 staff members,
Yeah.
and amongst those 10, we've got a lot of specialists. So we've got 2 guys who are in trance, but the one is more, let's say, uplifting trance, and the other one is more, let's say, melodic and progressive trance.
Yeah.
I think we've got a guy who's really a specialist in the more, let's say, alternative electronic styles and techno. Then we've got somebody who's more, let's say, into a proper UK A&R, with a specific UK ear. Same goes for US, of course, and we've got a guy who's more into, let's say, the commercial or the dance pop side of things. Proper house guy. So we got really, we cover the whole palette, of electronic music with a specialist. And I think it's really important as well, because a techno guy will automatically feel if he talks with a trans A&R, because it's a different approach, different lingo you need to speak. You have to wear a black shirt instead of a white shirt. It can be so specific. You know how it is. You sometimes, when you share ideas about music, if you drop a specific name or a wrong name in the context, they're out. So it's all about, let's say, making a connection, and the artist should in question should have the trust that we are the best possible partner for their music style, for their babies, their creations. So if you don't connect in that core level of music already, then it's going to be a challenge to have a long-term relationship, because that's the main ambition, I think, with every partnership we do, is that we really try to aim for a long-term relationship with the artist.
That's something super valuable, and I think
100%, yeah,
that if I would be a young upcoming artist and I would say, well, I've done this amazing mentorship with Eddie, and now my tracks are absolutely flying.
it's already good to reference, but really, it's a good opening.
Yeah,
I think, hey, Jeroen, I saw your chat with Eddie. We really loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's
your entry.
Like a personal connection right there. So no, I would say, if you get an email from me, let's say I've never released music before, but you hear that something cool is in that music and you see there's potential right there.
Yeah.
Do you say, well, if we're doing this, we're going full in, or do you say we do one-off records? What is your policy at the moment at Armada?
I think in terms of let's say picking up new talent, in terms of, let's say, more the screening process, the early conversations, I think normally, I'm always triggered by a specific record, like you said, with a specific sound, and I always request more music from that moment.
Okay.
If I don't think if I think there's nothing in there, I won't, let's say, proceed and chase, let's say, for more music. I think as soon as I heard, let's say, eight tracks of the same producer, then I know the first one is not a mistake. and I know it's an actual talent in that production style. So then then my preference is that we start a long-term relationship right away, because it's nowadays it's so difficult to break an artist, even for us. I think so it's not let's say it's never, let's say, the best time to start a music career, but I think now also with Spotify, I think Spotify, in a way, saved the music industry. A lot of people don't acknowledge that because they think like, hey, we're only getting paid per stream, it's not enough and stuff like that. But in a way, it's a business model that everybody helps. But I also think that it's also a platform, that curates successes. and successful artists, with a lot of followers or monthly listeners, will automatically be picked up by the algorithm and will get pushed again. So it's really difficult to bypass that.
Yeah.
So in order for us as a label, if we jump on a specific talent, then we do long-term deal, because we need maybe 2 years to set up the whole artist, and even with our network. So it's not easy.
Yeah. So if I understood it right, so before you start sending out music to you, where you say, well, I've got this one record done, I'm sending that to Jeroen and Armada now, you should better have a backup of a couple of tracks.
Yeah. I don't want to listen, let's say, the whole collection up front.
Yeah,
So
I
if you're
know.
sending if you send like a link with 10 tracks, then I'm already like, I need to plow through this, and again, it's not that my time is very precious, but I need to stop doing something in order to do that. So I think what I always want to challenge everybody is to send their very, very, very best records, but also, keep a couple of them, like you said, in the pocket, because then, those should be, let's say, the ones that really convince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's worth gold. That is, and this is something that not only you from Armada is looking for as an A&R, but I think that is something that everybody should write down and keep that in mind, because that is super important. Imagine you are sending an email to Jeroen, yeah, and Jeroen said, wow, this is an absolute amazing record, we love this, we'd love to do this, and we would love to do some follow-up singles. Do you have more?
No.
And now imagine if you have like 3 more records in the pipeline that are done. Said, sure,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yeah.
You know, that's a plus point right there.
100%. That's definitely a selling point. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. So don't forget this. I think that's very, very important for your.
I also think, let's say, in terms of originality, I see a couple of co-workers on the chat. I want to highlight one of them
already.
No, I've got. I want to highlight Stijn, who just responded. That was a really nice story, because I was actually. You've got this conference, like a business to consumer conference called the Dance Fair in the Netherlands, and I worked at Talpa at the time. Stijn was one of the guys in the queue, waiting with the demo. I had, let's say, numerous guys with sweaty palms and USB sticks, and playing the one after the another horrible EDM track. And then Stijn came up and he said, like, I've got an EDM track. I was like, okay, great. And then I said, like, but do you have some, or maybe something else? I said, I also create score music.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And he played me that, and I thought, like, I'm not an expert in score music, but it sounds great. So then I signed him at the BMG at the time, and he created numerous scores. And now he's one of my co-workers again. He works at Armada Publishing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. There you see, you reconnect all the time.
Yeah, you reconnect constantly. So it's I think the most important thing is, like we already said, it's a small community, but I think it's a community full of passionate people. We're all in it, for the good reasons, and sharing a passion. And I think that's how I always have seen it. And I just wanted to connect with like-minded people, and help them.
That's so good.
Yeah, because I think that's basically how I got into DJing. It was all about making a connection with somebody. If it was like an audience, or with fellow DJs who shared that same passion. And now also, I still, if it's like talking with you, or let's say talking with other artists, or let's say our co-workers, they sometimes say like, hey, Armada family, but that's really how it feels, because we're all, let's say, I feel, let's say, in it for a specific drive and a specific passion, so and the most important thing is that we have a lot of fun while doing it, and that's something is the most important, I guess.
And that's also what your founders are standing for.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So in the end, what most people don't know, it's like Armada is, that name was built on the first two letters of the founders, right?
Yeah. Three founders.
Three.
Yeah.
Michael, Armin, Michael, and David.
Yeah.
Right. So it was
Yeah.
Armada. So yeah, and everyone involved was super passionate about it from the beginning, and it still is. It's, I mean, when I see videos of Michael or stuff, it's still like a boy having fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the
I
great
can validate that.
yeah. I always have to smile when I see videos from the office,
Yeah.
and you're also at Armada, you have a club in the office where I've already played.
That was actually I think the best marketing investment we did. I remember Michael saying it. I mean, but he always comes up with those ideas, mostly during Christmas dinners, something like that, and he starts. I also remember that we had this Christmas dinner. I said, we're gonna start an office in New York, and then I see our COO Nadine look at him going like, what are you saying? And he was like, yeah, we're gonna do it, and the same goes with the club. He basically, I think Michael, outside, he's a very amazing guy and a fun guy to work with. He's a super, let's say, smart businessman, of course. And I think, he just said, like, he told me a little bit the philosophy around the club. He said, like, the club is, let's say, the ultimate showroom of our business. But at the same time, he said, like, advertising budgets are cut. Everything is online. I don't have those costs anymore. I can easily invest maybe a couple of 100,000 euros in getting a proper club where I can get nice people in, where DJs can play DJ sets.
Yeah.
We can do the live streams in like a boiler room kind of environment. And it's great for the staff as well. So it's like,
absolutely,
it's like a multiplier of thoughts, and opportunities.
Multiplier of fun.
a multiplier of fun, and we got so many. The fact you're mentioning it right now, we got so many people going like, "Hey, we heard you got a club in the office." So it was the best PR. And people, around AD, they always ask like, are you doing this thing in the club again? So it's it just became a thing over the years. So
and I remember
we also got it.
I remember that I played there with Sunnery, James, and Ryan Marciano when we've done
the track
Drums of Tobago.
Yeah.
When we done Tobago, we went fully in live streaming on Armada invites. I came there for the night. I was like absolute dead when I came back home because I drove from Germany to Amsterdam and after the gig back home, But thank God it's just like a 2.5 hour drive. But I mean, it was a lot of fun, and and that was actually
I know. I remember. We. I think for the artists it's a lot of fun as well because it's such an intimate showcase. So basically our concept Armada Invites basically was built more, let's say, first comes first served kind of social media boost. So we send out a mail, or we send out the announcement, and then people can just apply. And basically, you get in always, let's say, the core fans, or the people not of the brand, but also of the artist. And because of that, it's always a high energy, in a small room, and that's always fun for an artist to perform.
Absolutely. It's been, I've played there, I think two times I've played there. It was always great because I mean all the first time I came there, you gave me a tour around the whole office. Everyone was like, "Hey, yeah!" And then you saw the streaming guys sitting there in that room next to it, doing all that live stuff, all these different cameras. and you actually meet all the people, which is amazing. And that is actually
Yeah,
what I'm saying. You have a face to all these names, and that's what makes it personal. And that's,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not praising it, but I've been very convinced of the way you are running the business, and I've been a big fan because of that. Because I mean, you, it's I've done several records with you, and then now there's another record of me and Tom coming on Armada soon.
yeah,
And then we've got more stuff in the pipeline. So
yeah.
it's you know, it's
And you
stuff.
also aided the Armada University as well, right?
Say it again.
Armada
Yeah,
University, you did
exactly.
as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you see, we've done a couple of things,
yeah,
so this is great. So yeah, I think the way you do it, you are doing more than other labels are doing. You're doing exactly Armada University with Fader Pro, and you had amazing artists on there that are helping people out, educating people. You're actually doing education
yeah.
for the people with what you do.
Yeah, I think that being also the reason why we talk outside, we just get along very well. I think it's all also about giving back, to the up and comers, because I think those in the end are still, let's say, the building blocks of future artists, and building blocks of our industry. I think without new talent, our jobs would end. So I think what Armada University, what I really like about that is the fact that we've built a producer community, very loyal, which we sometimes offer specific things, remix competitions. They or they can make a specific track for a competition. We did announce something with that amazing brand Bayer, the yachts,
Yeah.
that people could do like a remix or a specific deliver a specific track for that. So I think it's um, like I said, it's about giving back, to that community, and cherish that community at the same time as well, because we actually already picked up through Armada University. We already picked up a couple of great talents. One of them being is Scorch, who simply just sent his demo to us. Um, uh, Came into the big pool of demos,
Yeah.
and was found. And we signed him for a long-term deal. So it's still possible.
Amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what would you recommend? That's something that I also wanted to ask you. What would you recommend uh people to do if they are skillful, they have their productions ready, haven't had a release yet, but have a couple of amazing records in the pipeline? What should they do? Should they go and sign to a label, or say, well, I need to, I want to be free first of all. I don't want my publishing. I don't want to give away my publishing. I don't want to sign somewhere 360 deal or something like that.
Mhm.
What would be your advice?
Yeah. My advice would be generally just to find the most ideal team around you. If that's like a publisher or like an A&R guy, you need to find ambassadors who champion your tracks, your sound, and you as an artist.
Yes.
If it's your brother or sister or parents that you want to listen to the music, then so be it. But I think it can also be a publisher. I don't see it's typically like a bad thing to sign away publishing, because a publisher can offer massive network of not only collecting income, but at the same time a massive creative network, with writers and other producers, who can only help you enhance your music and enhance your talent, because in the end everybody needs help. You know, you had help, I've had help, and um, and there are a lot of skilled industry people who can help you. You only need to find your team. And if a label passes on your records, then that doesn't mean your record is bad. It could also be that the label is not for you. You know, so that's also an important thing, because a lot of people, they just send out records to all labels, you know, but you just need to find a match with somebody. And the connection we talked about. So I think that's a good message to leave here.
Yeah, that's right, and I think it's been a very valuable hour that we've spent here, and
An hour already.
an hour already. You see, like it's 3 minutes to 9, and
Yeah.
no, it's. I think it's a lot of valuable things in there, and what you've just said, especially with the publishers. I I had some very bad experiences in the past, and the good thing is lesson learned. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but
and
the bad experience is experience as well. You know,
yeah, of
so
course. I mean, this is a lesson
yeah,
learned. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's and I've signed a publishing deal once, and I know that it didn't do me any harm, but it didn't do anything to me at all. I was signed to Sony ATV, and of course then they say, hey, you get this amount of advance, and you say, wow, that sounds amazing, you know. So and I said, yeah, let's
but
go,
what
let's
does
go.
it mean?
Huh?
But what does that mean?
Yeah, but what
You
does
know?
that mean exactly? So it's like 30,000 if you get, let's say, what is an average advance for a good artist? What is it? 40, 50,000 euros or something like that? Let's say
And comments on that.
okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, just like throwing it out there. If you have like an advance, you pay out an advance. I'm not talking about Armada or something. I'm just talking in general. You get an advance, and then the people say, "Wow, that's a lot of money." Well, this is keep in mind, this is an advance. You have to pay everything back. You know,
Yep.
this is just everything they give you. Here, you get that money now, but we are getting it back from all your publishing. You know,
Yep.
so you have to recoup everything,
Yeah.
right? So and for me, I actually said I want to sign with the publisher to actually open new ways of working together with songwriters, with
Exactly. Yeah.
artists, and all that kind of stuff.
A
That's what
new
I said.
network.
New network, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? During the 4 years I was signed, I did not have one collaboration with anyone, you know, and I mean, in the time I was there over 4 years, they switched the person that was my go-to person
Responsible. Yeah.
six
Of
times.
course.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
didn't make
Yeah.
any sense. So you've been just like
No.
one of thousands of people. So and then I said, you know what? If I'm going to sign someone, I'm going to sign with someone that I know is putting in the effort, and that is, yeah, that has my back. You know what I mean?
Did you find the person already?
No, I'm unpublished. I'm just completely free. I don't have a management. I don't have a publishing, and I've been super happy with that. At the moment, I've been not, and thank God that I didn't have a publisher yet, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do all the sync stuff that I'm doing right now.
No. No, exactly. Because, but I can also imagine that for the sync stuff, you also need a specific partner in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's true. That's true. You know, so but that's the good thing, because I didn't know where my road was really going. So I said, you know what, before I go and sign something, and that is closing several other doors that I wanted to get into
Yeah.
badly, that's always something that can be difficult sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like I'm not signed anywhere. I'm my own boss. I'm in control of my publishing and all that stuff. So Yeah, and still all opportunities are open. You know what I mean? So that's the good thing. And
Very good.
yeah, well, anyway, let's see what happens. You know, let's do a couple of trailers, and then let's see where it lands.
Star Wars. Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah. Oh man, that would be something. But there are not a lot of people who are sending trailer cues there. No.
I've got we work with Ilke Klein, who's also doing a lot of trailer work, and he actually he got I think in the top 3 of doing a pitch for Star Wars.
Can you
Just
imagine?
missed.
Yeah,
He just missed it, but yeah, it's obviously a boy's dream as well, you know, to do something like that. If you're a Star Wars fan, at
yeah,
least.
or Marvel. Imagine you
Yeah, or Marvel.
the
Yeah,
Marvel trailer. You
crazy.
know, that is something. I mean, then yeah, another life goal. You know. So, but anyway,
Hi, Coach.
so Kurt is here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well, Jeroen, listen, it was an absolute honor to have you on board, and it was a pleasure.
No, it was an honor to be here.
Yeah, and I think we could keep talking for hours and hours about all of this, and we should make a big sit-in with all the people, and who have
let's book a room at ADE. We'll have we have a long conversation with a lot of drinks.
There you go. That's a very good thing. But do you think ADE is going to happen this year? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, it's still too early to say. I'm not sure. You know, but I think maybe small gatherings. You know, I think if traveling becomes easier, maybe not, let's say, through the official program, but I know that we already got a lot of questions with regards to hey, is Armada doing anything? Because we just want to come over, and everybody's excited for doing going out and having a little bit of fun again.
Of course. And I just saw a message earlier in our chat that someone met me at the Adidas store in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're in Amsterdam, you're going shopping as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So you always, and that's also, I'm in ADE will happen. Yeah, Kurt, let's see.
Okay. Well, at least we already have a meeting of 3 people then.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kurt and I, we are coming there all the time. We are coming there together anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. You know? So
it's done.
Okay, well, Jeroen, thank you so much for everything, and we'll keep connected. And yeah, if you have if people have questions, what's the best way to get in touch with Armada as an artist?
Well, they can always email me. I'm not too precious about my email address.
Okay.
And I think the general like I said, the general demo box can be found through the website.
Yeah. Is it like a demo drop site?
Yeah. We've got this partnership with the label Radar, and it's a very cool system. I think it makes our lives at least a lot easier, because we can quickly filter through the types of genres, and also, let's say, get the real essence of each track. Okay. We still find assign a lot of talent through there.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. So I mean, I totally get it. If you have such a big label and you get 1,000 demos a week, imagine how your inbox looks like. So you need something. You need a system like this.
You need a filter for it. Yeah,
that's true. Well, anyway, Jeroen, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope we see each other very soon. And as soon as the borders are open, I'll be in Holland.
Yeah, perfect. Or other way around.
Yeah, we'll catch up for a biertje.
Lekker.
Okay, Jeroen, all the best.
See you.
See you later, yeah? Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.